Well, thank you, friend. Shabbat Shalom, and greetings to you all. Now, I'm sure there were great birthday celebrations for the myriads of you with early June birthdays, and I know quite a few. And of course, we had the 81st anniversary of D-Day, on a day that began the liberation of the world from the darkness only Tolkien imagined. As the road to temporary freedom in Europe began, let's hold to that freedom. Let's bring it back before it's gone again. Now, it is disappearing in front of you, sometimes without you even realizing it. We all saw the laws in Europe, and especially Great Britain, where thought crimes have taken a new role, and Canada has never been far behind. You have to love the names the bills are given. The Patriot Act stripped away more civil rights than the Founding Fathers could have imagined. And now the Strong Borders Act in Canada allows all law enforcement access to internet subscriber information without a warrant. Without a warrant. Who'd have thunk it? The use of names in advertising has done more than anything to demonstrate the dumbing down of society. Well, I haven't been stopped for thought crimes. I want you to know it's so good to see you week in, week out. I'm always honored and humbled by your giving me some of your private sacred time, and I know I am beginning to sound like a broken record every week, calling for the voices to silence and actions to stop the anti-Semitism now rampant through the once safe, secure North America, which for the last century at least did not tolerate it. Europe is different. For quite a while, there had been it really was the Jew-hating capital, but now cities like New York, Los Angeles, Toronto, Montreal, strong Jewish cities, have become world leaders in open season on anything Jewish. Now it's not only tolerated, but it goes fairly unpunished. What begins with Jews never ends with Jews. It must be stopped. Now, not a word about hostages. Not a word about the terror of October 7th, almost 2 years ago now. Not a word about the 2 young embassy staffers brutally assassinated simply because they're Jewish. And almost nothing about the terrorist who set a Holocaust survivor on fire. Oh, sure, he's been charged with hate crime. But this was domestic terrorism. It will not be the last. This burning hate must stop, must be condemned, must be eliminated. We need to replace burning hate with burning love. It's coming close. Flames are now licking my body. Won't you help me? Feel like I'm slipping away. It's hard to breathe. My chest is a heaving. Lord have mercy, I'm burning a hole where I lay. Great song by Elvis Presley, and of course Elvis never actually wrote any of the songs that he's credited with. And I had the pleasure of seeing him perform that live. And of course one of the great loves, and at least understood, of the burning relationships of our lives will be honored next week with Father's Day. Often bitter anger, hatred, antagonism becomes the calling card of father-son, more so than father-daughter, but it should be the honoring of the great love that was bestowed on you, to bring you into this world to safeguard and protect, to defend, to provide for you, and to pass a legacy on to you. Get ready to honor Dad next week. We'll talk about Dad more. But for now, honor yourselves and the current personal freedom you have that allows you, me, all of us, to gather and celebrate each other. And share as a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of secret showing faith. Any and all faith, love, any and all love. As we come together as a community, a true chavura, a fellowship, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay, even though together. We're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead. Invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. We support each other in this community, my friends, so let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. Remember, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your Kavana. Your intention that you put out to the universe, it's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. Your intention sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. And it's goodwill, energy, light that we sent to help heal those you know that need it. Healing and renewals for everybody. It floats through space, finding those in need, so send it out for those you know, for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It is for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. It is the tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. Part of the healing of the world, when we set thoughts and energy and health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It is the prayer for the sick. But it's for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy for people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers for those always in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them, because we want health, recovery, good life for everyone around us. Let's continue to send healing energy for the hostages, still held, still in prison, still languishing in the pits of despair. These are the never-to-be-forgotten victims of innocence. Time will not erase them. And also think of all those closer to us, for Pal and Al, for Winston, back for his birthday, for Chuck and Amin, Miriam, Carson and Callie. What a treat to have seen both of them this past week. For Gabby, for Trevor, Jessica, for Lucky Luke and the Builder, for Elf, for Sabrina and Dave, for Marie and Paul, for PJ, for Lucy, Pinky, Inora, who I will see this week in a new study group as I begin a series of lectures on Kabbalah. For Alana, it's been too long. For Fern and Johnny, for Kathleen, for Mina, Carla, for John and Maria, for Doria, for Gloria, for Connie and Ronnie, for Tally and Maya, for Nina and Danny, for everybody who needs healing, and for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends, and we all have them everywhere. For everybody you know in need, for the whole world, for the immortal bee, always in my heart. We pray for all those who need prayer. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. That spirit, my friends, never dies. Source of strength, bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say Amen. Misha Berach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing. We call upon God to heal as he has healed before. Misha Berach, may he who blessed, because all healing's a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. We take a bit of a detour this week in our journey through Numbers as we read nasso, add up. Sometimes, some things do not add up. It seems at times like we're living in a bit of an upside-down Superman type of bizarro world. How and why what's happening is happening. People seem to research less, ask Google, or now even more of AI, for the answers to questions in life. They get them immediately. They don't have to think. They don't have to research. They don't have to question it. They don't have to sort through material because someone has decided on their behalf what they need to know. And no one asks what was the criteria Mr. Google or the great artificial intelligence used in coming up with the answer. And just how prejudiced and programmed are they? No one cares as long as they get their answer. And the answer's instant. Well, I'm often reminded of that great classic Twilight Zone episode, The Obsolete Man. Beware. You may wake up one day and be told you're now obsolete. And I know people this happens to every day. The disposable world is disposing of people at an alarming rate. We seem to be approaching this world where logic's an enemy and truth is a menace. Do not let this happen. Sometimes you actually find great solace in reading this book that's been around for several thousand years, as it too encountered things that it tried so very hard to make sense of. Now, while at the beginning of this reading, there's another mini census of another group who will die, so don't dwell on the numbers. Don't forget, in Numbers, it's not about the numbers. This book is about the journey, the great metaphor of life. It's upon all of us. The journey is everything. Always remember that. Well, there are two fascinating things we read about this week. The test for the unfaithful wife and the Nazirite pledge. There is something else in here, and it's connected to every holiday and every ability to be mindful with our approach to life. And it's something you see in any movie that has religion or spirituality in it. And that's our concept of blessings. We have, each of us, been somewhere at some time and have been asked to do a blessing, most often at a meal, and we freeze. We don't know what to say. And often even Jewish clerics fail terribly compared to their Christian counterparts. Usually Christian clergy offer creative and spontaneous blessings, often tailored to refer to a particular concern or hope. It's taught. Whereas Jews have been taught three basic blessings they do with the Sabbath: for the light, for the wine, and for the bread. Think of it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam hamotzi lechem min ha'aretz. The blessing over the bread. But the blessings are in the delivery, in the meaning of what it is and why it is said. So do it in the language you're comfortable with. Slowly enunciate each word. If you want to do it in the Hebrew, but don't speak Hebrew, follow it in your mind with the appropriate translation. Baruch, blessed. Atah, are you. Adonai Eloheinu, my Lord, our God. Melech, King, Ha'olam of the universe. Chamotzi lechem, who brings forth bread. Min ha'aretz, from the earth. It is about giving thanks for the gift of nature that keeps us alive. Do that and understand what it is you're saying. Don't just memorize the words. Elevate the learned phrase into a meditative ritual instead of rote recitation. Stop memorizing. Start understanding and appreciating. And I emphasize this a lot, and I'll also emphasize do it in your language. You can learn the Hebrew if you want to say it in its original, but understand its meaning in the language of your life so that it has meaning in your life. I mention this because this week's reading includes the blessing that the priests are supposed to bestow upon the people of Israel. It's the one done every high holiday. When the Kohanes in the synagogue cover themselves with their talits, give the Vulcan long live and prosper sign that Leonard Nimoy took from his days in Orthodox shuls during the high holy days and injected into the culture of the world. So it's now one that everybody knows, and it's found in Numbers 6:24 to 26. We read it this week. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you, watch over you. Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha. May God shine his face towards you, show you favor. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God lift up his face to you and grant you peace. What an amazing wish for anyone. and it too has found its way into other forms of cultural appropriation, sometimes without our realizing it. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. Isn't that what that song is? And isn't that how it's supposed to work? We help others. We bless others and are blessed in return. It is a never-ending circle. It could be a never-ending circle of positivity, but it's not. There is a disconnect, and the disconnect is us. I said there's two fascinating things we read about this week. The test for the unfaithful wife, and the Nazirite pledge. Numbers 5:12. Speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them, any man whose wife will go astray and will make a breach of faith with him. Go astray. It's an interesting word. The Hebrew root is sota. This section deals with someone who is suspected. It's a woman whose husband suspects her of adultery, but who has not been proven guilty by evidence or witnesses. It would not merit special notice as anything more than any other law, especially since it's not been practiced for at least 2 millennia and probably more than 2.5 millennia. But in the Torah, it exists, and it has acquired special importance because it's regarded as the only case of trial by ordeal in the Torah. And second, because questions about the legal status of women have risen to prominence. The woman is made to drink a mixture of holy water, dust from the tabernacle's floor, and ink from a document expressing a curse if she's guilty. But that's not the important thing. Notice there is no evidence, no witnesses. That's important. Because remember, for all other crimes, conviction takes 2 witnesses, especially for a capital crime. But there are deeper reasons for this whole section. The penalty is different than other places where adultery is involved. This does not result in death. Why? Well, there's no evidence and there's no witnesses. There cannot be a death penalty. So this has to be about other things, and perhaps it's about pregnancy. The woman, perhaps she has to be pregnant for this entire episode to take place. Pregnancy is a condition that is without similarity in human experience. That's why this case reads like no other. That's why there are agonizing, passionate debates in the present age over whether to save the mother or the baby in a medical crisis during labor, over rights to sperm and eggs that have been preserved, over surrogate mothers, and above all, over abortion, with arguments about when the developing being inside the womb is a living human in its own right, about the legal rights of the mother over her own body in balance with the legal protection of the fetus. There simply is no other experience in which 2 lives are so utterly interconnected. This was so important. There are 2 entire tractates of the Talmud dedicated to this. 2! Don't tell me this book has no relevance in today's world. The other incredible thing in this week's reading is the Nazirite vow. Numbers 6:2. Speak to the children of Israel, you shall say to them, when a man or a woman will expressly make a Nazirite vow to make a separation for the Lord. Separation for the Lord is the priesthood. It's a right of male birth. It's not a choice. But here, a man or a woman, purely by choice, but I kept hearing that only men were allowed to be priests. Although the rest of the law is stated in the masculine, the entire matter of choosing to be a Nazirite applies to both men and women equally. A Nazirite is priest-like and vows to give up certain things and live in a state of holiness. Now, there's a general idea in the Torah that all people are holy, everybody. But the Nazirite vow refers to a very singular state that exceeds that level of holiness. The Nazirite gives up 3 things: consuming alcohol, coming near to dead people, and cutting his or her hair. Why these 3? Because these 3 things are related to the priesthood and particularly to the high priest. Now, immediately 2 people in the Bible come to mind: Jesus Perhaps not from Nazareth, since he was born in Bethlehem, the city of David, but because he was a Nazirite. The other, Samson, with the most famous haircut in history. Now, Samson was the biblical Hercules, a man of superhuman strength, who nonetheless could not escape tragedy. He is the last of the major judges who led the Israelites, but he's hardly an ideal role model or savior. Samson breaks vows, marries outside of the people of Israel twice, functions more as a vigilante than a leader. Though he strays from the role he was destined for, he returns. The key element we so often see returning, teshuvah. It calls to you your entire life, and when embraced, engages the forgiveness mechanism and more. The story of Samson, it's not in the Torah. It's in the Bible, but it's in the book of prophets, Nevi'im, in the Judges, chapters 13 to 16. It's not a big story. Judges 13:1. And the Israelites once more did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and he gave them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. There was a man from Zorah, from the clan of the Danite, and his name was Manoah. This woman was barren, she had no child, and a messenger of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "Look, pray, you're barren, you've borne no child, but you shall conceive and bear a son, and now guard yourself. Pray and drink no wine or strong drink, and eat no unclean thing, for you're about to conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall touch his head, for the lad shall be a Nazirite of God from the womb." He's being dedicated to priest status from birth, from pre-birth. And we see his Herculean strength in Judges 14:5. And Samson went down, and his father and his mother with him, to Timnah. They came as for the vineyards of Timnah, and look, a young lion came roaring at him. The Spirit of the Lord seized him, and he ripped it apart as one would rip apart a kid, with nothing in his hand, and he did not tell his father and his mother what he had done. And he went down and spoke to the woman, and she pleased Samson. And he came back after a time to marry her, and turned aside to see the place where the lion had fallen, and look, there was a swarm of bees in the lion's carcass and honey. Then another very famous story about Samson occurs, where he's set upon by a swarm of Philistines who were there to capture and kill him. Judges 15:15. And he found the fresh jawbone of a donkey and reached out his hand and took it, and he struck down 1,000 men with it. But Samson's karma is coming. A story we all know so well is coming. Judges 16:4. It happened afterwards that he loved a woman in Nahal Sorek. Her name was Delilah. The Philistine overlords went up to her and said to her, "Entice him. See in what his great power lies, with what we can prevail against him and bind him to torture him. As for us, each of us will give you 1,100 shekels." Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me, pray, in what your great power lies. With what could you be bound to be tortured?" He lies to her. And she said to him, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." And he snapped the cord she tied him with. The secret of his power was not known. Now she does this 3 times and complains that he says he loves her, but does not tell her his secret. So he finally breaks down, and he does. Judges 16:17. And he told her all that was in his heart, and he said, "No razors touch my head, for I've been a Nazirite of God from my mother's womb. Were I shaven, were my power, turn away from me, and I'd be weakened to become like any man." Delilah saw that he had told her all that was in his heart. She knew it was true. This time, it was true. She knew it was true. She put him to sleep on her knees. She called the man out, shaved his head. Powers turned away from him. And she said, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." He did not know that the Lord had turned away from him. The Philistines seized him. They gouged out his eyes. They brought him down to Gaza. Gaza had been around a long time, my friends. They bound him in fetters, and he was put to grinding in the prison. Perhaps the same place where the hostages are. They bring him to the temple for a festival. There's over 3,000 people there, including most of the Philistine overlords. They drag Samson out, but over time, his hair had been growing back. Judges 16:29, and Samson grasped the 2 central pillars on which the temple stood and pushed against them, one with his right hand, one with his left hand. And Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he pushed powerfully. The temple fell on the overlords, all the people who were in it, and the dead that he killed in his death were more than he had killed in his life. Samson's career as an Israelite champion ends in an act of wholesale destruction in which he too dies, like fire that consumes everything in its path and eventually itself as well. The Talmud debated the true character of Samson. One Mishnah paints him in a negative light, saying that Samson's eyes were gouged out as punishment for having followed the desires of his eyes. And this can actually be found in the famous Talmud tractate Sota 9b that we mentioned before. But rabbis being rabbis, the Talmud also found middle ground and suggested that Samson may have followed his own inclinations, but the master plan was God's. His motivations may have been questionable, but Samson was still an important hero at a troubled time for the Israelites. If nothing else, it's another reminder that heroes come from different people. They come in different shapes and sizes. And most often, they're normal people with the foibles of normalcy, humanity, like me, like you. Here was someone who followed their own path, not necessarily a righteous one, but came to have faith, demonstrated it, reminded us God accepts us at any time when we choose to return to him. Now, there's certain themes that you might notice in the story of Samson, and these are the themes of our lives. There's the theme of sight, constant reference to sight. What is right in my eyes? We all look through our own eyes, but sight also points to the condition of Samson's heart. Strength. He can kill a lion with his bare hands. He can kill 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. He can tear down a temple. But his greatest strength was in doing God's work. Sin. This man is not a paragon of virtue, but who is? And accordingly, he became first spiritually weak, and then physically weak. And not until he could overcome and ask forgiveness of sin could his strength return. It's the same for any of us. Sovereignty. He acknowledges the sovereignty of God and he regains his strength. Purpose. We all have a purpose. And we are ultimately called to that purpose. Some of us ask, what is our purpose? Some people don't. Choice. We're all free to choose, but we're not necessarily free from the consequences of our choice. Friends, every action takes us closer or farther to God. These are fantastic stories in this week. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light, and continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share the ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Learn to forgive. Learn to love, including yourself. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It's our intention. Our Kavana, our cause, our effect. It's all linked. You have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who have hurt you. As you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world, just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. Just keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart and quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart. You're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief. Never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We are the same. And therefore we help each other. We're each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have a special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. You're never alone. Listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they talks to you. And remember, your connection to God and all that God's created in body and in soul and spirit and mind. It's a part of you. It's a part of me. It's a part of everybody forever. We're all connected. So listen to the voice of God, because God is always talking to you. And enjoy the journey. We are on the road in the wilderness, where we will forge a nation, a code of ethical laws, our character, our understanding of the interconnectedness of all, and the reality that we are forever blessed. Bless you wherever you are. Wind swept, child on a shooting star, restless spirits depart. Still we're deep in each other's hearts. Now bless you all. Shabbat Shalom. Blessings to you all, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye. Thanks.